And welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And there are a few times, Dr. Lopkin, that we struggle to find something to talk about. Doesn't happen often. We're both talkative people. But this edition, that's not the case. Two things that are just readily apparent. Pence's debate performance, and now today's Trump announcement that he's not going to participate in the subsequent debate. Your opinion, please, sir.
Well, in terms of the debate, Pence did very well, but ultimately last night's debate was absolutely meaningless. If you talk to Democrats, Harris won the debate. If you talk to Republicans, Pence won the debate. If you talk to independents, overwhelmingly, they've said there was no winner and nobody has changed their mind on who they're voting for based on last night.
Yes, sir. I do have a theory and it doesn't happen often, but I would certainly want to run it by you, Dr. Lopkin. I think it hurt Trump because you have a juxtapose, you have a comparison of Pence, who kept it together, did a professional job. You know, you could say who won or lost, that's whatever. In other words, it's how your interpretation. But you certainly didn't think that Pence was a maniac. Unlike the first.
Not at all. And
that's why I think it actually hurt Trump, because it further articulated him as, it was not a good debate performance, not very presidential. And I think Pence's presidential performance highlighted Trump's weakness. Your thoughts, sir?
It did bring attention to Trump's weaknesses. I don't think it hurt him any, though. I've heard a number of people basically say what Pence showed is what the Trump administration really is if you take away Twitter.
Okay, but that's my whole point is if you took away Twitter and the craziness and the nonsense, in spite of the pandemic, Trump would be winning. But yeah, it's like, yes, your best buddy who is, graduated Harvard, but he's drinking, 5-6 packs a day. Oh, in spite of drinking, he would just be fine. Well, it's not going to go away. My point is, yeah, it's kind of true. The Twitter and the outlandish behavior, it's just taken a toll, and you said it a year ago.
We've said it over and over again that he needs to focus and stop this. However, while I think it does point out Trump's weaknesses, in terms of the election, I don't think it's going to hurt him with anybody who would have voted for him. Because what Pence did is show what the administration is really like. It strips away the Trump image and got down to substance. And I saw a lot of critiques of last night's debate, all talking about the fact that Pence was able to point out what the administration has accomplished without the distraction of Trump's energy and craziness. Yeah,
Trump did not do a good job to articulate. I really believe, and I had conversation with a good friend of mine, and I told him, unfortunately, it's over. And actually, I was watching Neil Cavuto, and he's basically said that Wall Street's already factored in a Biden victory. I believe Trump had somewhat of the momentum, or definitely the momentum. And I'm sorry, sometimes in life you do blow it. Your comments? Forget about it. I'm not talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about his coming down with COVID. I don't think that helped him either. But his debate performance he needed to do certain things, and he had an epic fail.
No, he did have an epic fail at the debate. Was it the death blow? I can't say it was yet. Right
It didn't
now,
help.
No, it didn't help. Right now, I've got them as too close to call.
I would like to say that, Dr. Lopkin. I think it's 60-40 Biden. And I think Trump, which is the next usually topic of discussion, I think Trump bowing out of the second debate, huge mistake. Unless it's a negotiation ploy, then I'll give him kudos. But if he drops out and has a stupid rally that defeats the whole thing about, Biden's a coward, he doesn't want to, he's blowing himself up. I don't understand it. I've really never seen anything like it. Your thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to completely disagree with you on this. I understand why Trump doesn't want to debate, because the key was it's going to be a virtual debate, and that's why he bowed out.
I understand that, yes.
If Biden is not in front of Trump, there is no way to tell if he's got an advisor in his ear, if he's got a teleprompter, if he's got people feeding him lines. And
I would say that is an excellent point. But the problem is it goes into the whole corona denial. I'm not debating, Eric, I love you, but I'm not going out to happy hour. I'm not debating you if you just came down with corona a week ago. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. It's just the whole denial thing. It's just for the average American is like, what the heck are you thinking about? You just came down with corona and you're going to go with a live debate?
See, and again, that's part of the problem that's been going on thanks to the media. Take a look at the World Health Organization statistics, the CDC statistics. The odds on somebody getting corona and it being fatal is 0.4%. If you were told, if you take this action, you've got a 99.6% chance of coming out fine, you wouldn't even question it. But the media has people running scared. The Democrats have people running scared. And quite frankly, if they keep the two of them, 6 feet apart and they wear a mask, there's virtually no danger to them being in the same room. And the Democrats have been saying over and over again, wear the mask. Well, let Biden wear the mask.
Well, hopefully it's a negotiation point. I kind of disagree with you on this one. I'm not wearing a mask. In other words, I do wear masks, but I'm saying I'm not debating anyone that has coronavirus. Sorry, that's not doing it. It is worse than the flu. If I had the flu, Dr. Lopkin, I'd be like, okay, let's do the podcast. I'll be in bed, but no big deal. Corona, I'd be scared. You know what, Liz? That's just how it is for me, at least.
And I understand that coming from the opposite side. I had corona. I still went to work.
You had corona?
I had corona early on.
You never told me.
I did mention in February, I was ill. It was something the doctor couldn't figure out what it was. Now, in retrospect, the doctor has said, oh, yes, what you had was corona. And let me tell you something. Was it miserable having? Absolutely. It didn't stop me from getting work done. Obviously, I didn't go out. But we did our podcasts. I came down to my office and did work. The fact of the matter is, there is a huge population that had corona and didn't even realize it.
No question about it. It's 1 in 10. I could have had corona. I agree 100%. I had a cough. I didn't, because I had a blood test and I had it negative. But the point is, I understand you're correct. It's more about optics. They got to work out a way. It's face to face, but and also I have to agree with you on another thing. Is if they actually had the face to face debate, the only trump card, no pun intended, that the Democrats have is corona. That's
Yes.
There's no economic, social, everything else scares people to death, and rightfully so. It's Corona, and that's it. So if they show up in a debate and it alleviates, just think of this concept, it alleviates the fear just a little bit, guess what? It helps Trump. Am I correct or not?
You're absolutely correct. If you get rid of some of the fear of Corona, that's been their big push. It's, he did horrible in handling Corona. Well, you know what? If you take a look at the numbers, the vast majority of cases, Trump had nothing to say about how they were taken care of. It was people in New York City who were screwed over by Andrew Cuomo and de Blasio. It was people in California who were screwed up by the Democrats who run California. But they want to shift the blame to Trump because that's the only thing they've got right now. Getting back to the virtual debate, though, I honestly believe if they can come up with a way that they can guarantee that Biden is not being coached during the debate, Trump will participate. I think that's the real issue.
Good point. And I say that I'm a little surprised, not in a bad way, that you still give it a 50-50. I mean, the polls, and then we're going to close on this.
Well,
there's some polls. I mean, I have Democratic friends. They call me. I can't stop them. My God, please stop it. But they call me. It's like, he's 13, 18, 20 points. I'm like, what?
First of all, you have to remember that the polls in 2016 had Hillary ahead in many cases by more than this.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, so right now I've still got it at 50-50, but Biden has the momentum.
Last thing, we'll close on this. I really believe, and he should thank his lucky stars that he seeked out and he secured Pence as his VP. I'm sorry. I think Pence stopped the bleeding last night because it was bleeding. And I think he did the same thing in 2016. Trump had a less than spectacular first debate against Hillary, somewhat unhinged, not as bad as the last week. And Pence calmed things down. He should thank his lucky stars that he has him. That is my final thought, Dr. Lopkin.
He really should. And I'm going to go out on a limb, but I'm going to say regardless of who wins in 2020, you've got a really good shot at a Pence presidency in 24.
God, he saved himself. Yes, that is the point to end on, Dr. Lopkin. It's brilliant and it's true. And in my pea brain, I actually thought of that he lives, not only lives, he survives and possibly thrives into the future. If he screwed this one up, later, dude.
Yeah, no, Pence still has a good career in front of him. I can see him running for president in 24. I could actually see, and now I'm blanking on her name, but the former ambassador to the UN. I could see her and Pence on a ticket in 24.
Huge. Dr. Lopkin, great podcast. Thanks. Thank you, and thank our listeners. And we will not be doing a podcast on Friday because it's a long weekend and Mr. Sherman decided he's going to get out of town. And many people are probably happy about that.
And we will see you all next week.
Take care.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio podcast network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.